Check, baby, check, baby, check. 1, 2. Be with you shortly. Checkity check. I think I goofed that up. Good evening, everybody. No killers on this show. Gotta use those free license tracks sparingly. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another one of these great shows, especially this evening edition of DYOR Live here on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are the days that Pedro has other obligations all day, and so we do an evening show. And that being said, I'm not sure if Pedro is going to be with us or not today. We'll see as if he comes through or not. Welcome to everyone joining the show. Already have a bunch of you watching here across different platforms. 10 people. Thank you very much, including some on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. But our home here tonight is on Rumble, so if you're watching somewhere else, want to join the conversation, such as on X or Twitch, join us on Rumble. Just go to Rumble and search DYOR Media, and you will find us. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. It is December 7th, 8th. It's December 9th. Can you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? Only 17, only 15 more days till Christmas Eve, if you can believe it. If you can believe it. Is that right? That's right. I hope you guys got all your Christmas done. But anyway, speaking of Christmas, coming to the end of the year for Bitcoin. Bitcoin turning around a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow is the Fed decision on what to do about interest rates. Could be the third time in a row that they drop rates. Could be. We know there's some infighting going on at the Fed about what to do. Some want to cut. Some want to hold. And some want to just, hey, we should even raise it a little bit because inflation is still worrisome. Even though I paid some ridiculously low prices for gas in the U.S., the equivalent let's see, it was the $2.14 was the regular. The premium was $2.90. It was nuts. A gallon, not a liter. Came to Canada and paid $1.50 for a liter. So that's that's $6, about roughly $6 a gallon Canadian, which is about $4.50 US. So the prices in Canada about 75% higher than the US. So that's troublesome as it is. Anyway, so tomorrow's the big Fed decision. Also, some other things we're going to talk about here tonight, other than this great number above my head here. USDC Circle is bringing out a privacy version of its USDC stablecoin. That's right. They're testing it right now on the Aleo, whatever, blockchain. It's called USDCX. Privacy enhanced. But still complying with all the U.S. regulations. So I don't know how they're doing that, but we'll find out. And also, the U.S. government, if you recall a while ago, they disbanded a couple of different crypto and scam hunting groups with the Attorney General's office and with the SEC and some other groups like that. People were all up in arms. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. It's so terrible. Trump's evil. It's going to be free crypto for everybody. It's just theft. Well, that wasn't the case. The case was let's consolidate this all with the FBI in their task force. And sure enough, people are now being prosecuted. When you put a group together to scam people, they're prosecuting under RICO. And you don't want to get caught with a RICO Act violation for racketeer, influence, corrupt organizations. You go to jail for a long time, and if you're the head of it, you go in with special circumstances. Learned about that from YouTuber Chris Bowden. And it's not a good thing, but it's a good thing for us normal people because it's putting the scammers behind bars. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too. Crypto Mike in the house. Thanks for joining us, Crypto Mike. All the way from Manitoba, getting dumped on over there. I am back in Kanukistan right now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Traveling Wilburys, otherwise known as Mr. Striking and Mr. Striking, are back in Kanukistan just in time for more snow. We're going to get dumped on tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Thanks for the emotes. Loving it. Fire Chicken in the house. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out Fire Chicken, but do it on CoinGecko or Jupiter, where you can see volume from all the pools. You know what? I gotta. You know what, Chuck? Before we get into the show, let's see about that. Let's see if not about Fire Chicken, but let's see if my great graphics machine pulls the volume correctly from all the. If I'm pulling this from CoinGecko over here, this data right here, and it says the 24-hour volume is 21,000. Chuck, if you could tell me if that's from one pool or all of them, I would really appreciate it. Because then I would know if my great graphics machine is pulling the CoinGecko API correctly. Oh, you know how you don't have the lighting just right in your show? When your hair looks gray. Really, my hair's not gray at all. No, only 25. It's not gray. Crypto Mike says everyone loves Fire Chicken. Good to see the usuals in the house. Along with Crypto Unicorn says, let's go. Connect to Me One says, whoop whoop. Whoop whoop is a whoop whoop out there for Pedro. But Pedro es no aquí. No aquí, no ahí. No aquí. Crypto Mike pushing, talking about his NFT site, artvibe.com. If you're interested in looking at some cool artwork from Crypto Mike, go to artvibe.com right down here. It's an NFT site. Mike uses it to raise money for veterans causes. Good stuff. Apparently Fire Chicken says my volume is correct. Got the API right. Fire Chicken says hit 50K a couple of days ago when I was really messing with things. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, toast to Fire Chicken. That's right, we're having an old-fashioned during the show. That's how that works. And the don't like it when these guys give me commercials over here. Anyway, thanks to everyone, all the usuals watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get a good crowd here across all platforms. We have about 14 different people watching. Really appreciate it. I don't know why. And I saw you over on Twitch. I don't know who you were, but I saw that blink 201 there for a minute. You know, I bet you... no, that's not what I wanted to do. Getting the show started off a little slowly. The other day on Friday, we had a good time. I had some licensed music freebies from Licked and pulled up the Killers and stuff, and we had a good time. Had a good time bringing in the show and kicking it out, and raided someone else, and they were like, wow, we got raided. Fun. Thanks to everybody that participated in that. That's for sure. Let's put this over here. Back in, as always, when I come back after I have not visited one of the global offices, global studios here, otherwise known as living rooms, the machines are a little off. And I have technical problems. But none so far today, just a little procedural errors. Anyway, congrats to Fire Chicken for all their volume, hitting 50K the other day in volume. But what do we want to talk about here today? There's a lot of good topics to talk about. Obviously, there always is in crypto. But one of the most important ones is this one here. Democrats block crypto. That's right. The Democrats, in their infinite wisdom, said, let's take the most popular thing that's going on right now in the country. That could be a huge win for the Democrats if they just supported it. A huge win. Huge win. And they said, nope. The U.S. Senate, Cory Booker, the U.S. Senate said, we are not going to support crypto. Just not going to happen. A lot of bills coming through, the big market structure act or bill or whatever they call it, to lay the groundwork for all of crypto to integrate with each other and with the financial system. It's going to be held hostage. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, see it. This is why this works on Rumble. All you have to do is say evil Democrats, and the numbers start shooting up. Meanwhile, we're blocked on YouTube. I drum up some social media. Remember, everybody, to share and like this in your trading groups, your friends groups. Share with your mom, grandma. She's got the internet. All right, let's flip over to Bitcoin and talk about December, where we're at so far. As all of you know, you heard me a million times talk about this. I've been working on my monthly cycle. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I've been transitioning into a Bitcoin trader. You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? Almost got banned on some bunch of social media platforms. I've been working on my longer-term trades. You've heard me talk about this a million times. I'm not going to tell you why. Yes, I will. Because once you learn to look at the longer time frames, you can get more confidence in your short-term trades playing out to fruition. Whereas I saw just a little bit of profits in trades that were meant to go, 3 to 1 or 4 to 1, and I would go 0.05 to 1. I would, on a trade that I wanted to make $500 on, I would make $25 and be profitable, winning trade, but not making less money than lettuce prep at McDonald's. Crypto Unicorn says evil Dems. Yes, that's right. But anyway, this is the monthly chart that I've been using here, and trying to figure out how December is going to go. And a little tough cookie. This one started out a little tough for me. And I've been doing a good job of predicting the weeks of each month. based on the adage of how the time period starts, it's going to finish in the opposite generally. And then in between, you kind of have to figure out which way it's going to go. Obviously, fundamental, that's just technical jargon. Fundamentals affect everything and change. Market makers change everything. There's so many variables. There's trillions of variables. Can't get them all right, obviously. If I can get 2 of them right, I'd be happy. 2 out of a trillion. That's pretty good, right? But so far we're generally right so far. Are Democrats like liberals? Yeah, it's worse though. You know why? Because there's more of them. There's 95 million Democrats, and there's only about 8 million liberals. Let's see, 30. No, I'm sorry, I didn't get that right. 72 million voted for Kamala Harris. We'll just assume those are Democrats. And 40% of voters, and I think there were 18 million voters in the Canadian election, so say 8 million liberals. It's just more Democrats. Same crazy thinking, woke stuff, things that have nothing to do with the economy, just social programs. Mike's getting into it tonight. It might end up to be a political show tonight. Anyway, it's nighttime. You can do that. Anyway, but for the month here, the month started up, and this arrow here, this one here, was the last week of November, and I was predicting the big up for it, and I was clearly wrong in that week. Got the rest of November right, bang on the whole month. But the last week I was expecting a big push up, and we got a little beep one. Little sorry, honey, it ended early. I hear so striking in the other room. No comments from the peanut gallery. Ooh, that was the wrong analogy. This is the entertainment you get. You want the edutainment? This is the entertainment part. Anyway, this arrow here is the first week of December, which technically we just finished. And did it go up? Yes. Did it go up as much as I thought it was going to? No, it didn't. The volume was okay. Not great. However, it's from this is the daily chart. If you're looking at the daily chart, let me erase these old lines here first. Got a little bit. If I were a crypto lifer here, I obviously won't speak for crypto lifer, but what he taught me is to look for the flag here. And the daily chart is doing a little bit of flag. So I think we got a little bit more up going before this week is going to end up down. Now, we have today's Tuesday. We've got four and a half more trading days in the week. And the Fed decision is coming up. You know what? I said on the opening that it was tomorrow. But I'm not sure when it is. I'm not sure if it's tomorrow or Friday. Let's see. Forex factory this week. Filter. Just none. US. Apply filter. Tuesday. I also thought it was Wednesday. FOMC is tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, it should be an interesting week. On Friday, a couple of FOMC members speak. Paulson, who's usually contrary to Jerome Powell, Hammock, and Goolsby. I don't know Goolsby that well, but there should be some interesting talk about whatever happens. So obviously today's Tuesday, so there's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, half a Sunday, 4.5 more days. Yeah, so I was right in the trading week. A lot of time left, and so the thinking is that it's going to go up a little bit more. Pedro has been having thoughts about 95,000. We've been talking about that for 2 weeks. I tend to think it's still going to go to that before it comes down for the week. Tomorrow it could hit all our projections tomorrow by simply just spiking up tomorrow on good news and then dumping off, or good rumors and then selling off on the news. We don't know. Tomorrow's going to be a volatile day. It'll set the tone for the rest of the week. However, if it causes a big liquidity sweep, we'll see the market staying down. But depending on the timing, you see this the next week, the third week, is a push for a big up week. And then the last week this last week in December is usually pretty dead because there's no liquidity in the market. There might be big price movement up and down, but the overall average should be, nil. Big price movement because there's not a lot of people in the market, not a lot of money. But overall, it might not be that interesting. But the big times for December, the end of this week and most of next week. And then we'll see where the liquidity is in the market and how the year ends up. And later in the month, not too far into the month, we're going to do some more evening shows in a Space Lounge, which we look at the yearly candles. The yearly candle. Don't get to do that often. I've never done that. I've never looked at the yearly candle. Mike, I thought it was Wednesday too. I mean, I knew it was Tuesday. I set up the show as a Tuesday show, but while I got started talking, I thought it was Wednesday. Could be the bourbon. So anyway, Bitcoin trading up in anticipation of good news. If we get a market rate cut, which the market is anticipating, let's just go right to Polymarket, which obviously is called predictive market. Predictive markets? The predictive markets, right. It's not called gambling anymore. They successfully rebranded that. So the Fed decision right here, it says here on Polymarket. Fed decision in December. Let's get rid of this thing. Not easy to see on this. 97% for a 25-point basis cut. And obviously not much for the rest of it. Check this number out right here. This number right here. $337 million wagered on the Fed decision. That's well known to be true. I mean, not true, but 97-3. I mean, this isn't a 50-50. Vikings Lions game or something like that, or Bengals Ravens or whatever. This is 97-3. Still, $337 million. Bet $97, win $3. I mean, who's betting against it? How do you bet against it? I mean, maybe is everyone betting against it just playing the odds, saying, well, you never know. I could bet $3,000 turn into $97,000. I don't know the exact payouts, but that's kind of what I think it is. Oh, I didn't even have that right. The bet is 25 basis points, 97, 50 basis points, under 1%. That's amazing. Let's see what we'll try. They're even betting what Trump will say during his Pennsylvania speech. How many times he mentions Joe Biden. The Miami mayor election. Where did the what's his name? Where'd the current mayor of Miami go? Is he getting a new job? He was very pro crypto. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Back to the monthly chart here. All right, so where I was with this is that there's a little bit of an uptrend still. Probably, my guess is only to 95,000, maybe a little bit more. before it starts coming back down to the liquidity levels back into the 80s. Now, that being said, if we have a little bit of variable news tomorrow, we could see a much larger sell the news event where they come out with 0.25% decrease, and Jerome says a few key words, and then it's dump city. Or, on the other hand, if he seems optimistic and the other FOMC members, the news aggregates what they say to kind of behind the scenes, we could see a much larger pump. Because Pedro and I have also been watching that $100,000 level. But still the overall suction is down on this. And but that's not a bad thing. Remember, if you're a spot holder and bought at 120,000, it's clearly a bad thing. But if you are a futures holder and are going to go short, it's a good thing. I actually still have a demo trade that's long from 92,000. Actually, it's 92.3. Oops, I'm upside down in it right now. 92.6. All right. And so I've been waiting for it to go to 95 or a little bit more, and then take the short from there. But let's go a little bit short. I've been talking about all the short time frames. I haven't looked at the short. I have been talking about the longer time frames. I've not looked at the short time frames in a long time. But you can see the hour-long chart here. What's this telling you, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. It's going to flag, and it's going to flag here pretty soon, too. Or break out of it probably by midnight or so here, Eastern time. And if you're a crypto lifer aficionado, he would just be calling it probably something like this. Possible move up to 95,000 from this. That would be good. I would like that, because then that's about where I'd get out of most of my trade. Crypto Mike says, Watch Your Guru says SpaceX is going public next year. I don't know about that. I don't know if they can. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because apparently Elon doesn't own. He only owns 30%. Or some sort of SpaceX now, or some number under 50%, and so he would no longer be in control. And investment groups, they would get their fingers into SpaceX's overall plan of going to Mars, and be like, no, that's a bad plan. There's too much risk, and that's too much risk for a public company to go send people to their deaths, because it's going to happen. People will die going to Mars. And I don't know if it's a good plan for it. If they run out of money, then they're not been charging enough. That'll be an interesting story, though, Mike. A $1.5 trillion IPO. The money. I'm gonna have to write that one down. Well. On that note, Mike, there was a story. I'm pointing over here, like the story's right here, but I'm just pointing at my screen. There was a story, because actually it's normally, never mind. My X screen is over here right now. There was a story about a comet, another asteroid being discovered close into Earth's orbit that is basically made of gold. Like, it's got septillion dollars in today's value worth of gold. And if you heard Pedro and I talk about this a lot, you've heard Pedro and I talk about that Elon is going to do just like that EVE Online thing, and he's setting up a whole plan to figure out how to mine asteroids. And they can do it in theory now. In theory, you can go mine asteroids and put little motors on your mining batch that drop things on either to the moon or to Mars or even to Earth. It'll burn up a lot in the Earth's orbit, or at least put them into orbit around the Earth, of like 4 tons of gold or whatever at a time, and they can arrive on an exact schedule Boop. And you can literally you can do it in Kerbal Space right now. You can do it in Universal Sandbox or Space Engineer, one of those programs, in which you can do the whole orbital mechanics of it and figure out how to land something in the Arizona desert every 2 weeks. It doesn't matter where they're coming from in space, that the rocket just moves things faster, slows it down, blah, blah, blah. And you could land all the rare earth materials you want. It's an amazing concept. Amazing. But I'm getting sidetracked. 42%, he still holds 40% equity, but 79% of voting rights. Good point. I forgot about the Class B shares or whatever, voting rights shares. I forgot about that. That's great. It's such a fantastic concept. I mean, imagine if we said we don't have to mine our Earth anymore. We can go and grab, just like EVE Online, the show, or the video game. We can go mine stuff and bring it back here. But to think of the $1.5 trillion IPO, the money that would be sucked out of Wall Street to fund that. I mean, but let's say $1.5 trillion, that would be, times earnings. It's a huge amount of times earnings. They'd have to launch a lot of satellites. There'd have to be a lot of people paying big money. It's past my comprehension there. My brain's leaking out my ear. It's past my comprehension, the money they would need to earn, and the people that would need to pay them for the amount of satellites they'd have to put in space. In fact, I was at an event recently in which people were talking about Elon Musk, and they were like, well, I don't support him. He's done some good things in the past, but I don't support what he's doing, and blah, blah, blah. He's just bad. He's bad. And I was like, hold it. Hold it right there. And I'm like, I was the American in the room. And I was like, that guy has done nothing but awesomeness. Who cares what he does with Mr. Trump and that kind of stuff? Who cares? I said, that guy is going to cure my mom's partial blindness or full blindness if that happens. His neuroscience thing is already curing blindness, and he's curing paralyzed people, all that type of stuff. Never mind revolutionizing space, which will have impact on all of us, which it's doing with communications right now. He's revolutionizing all these industries. The electric car industry is bringing down carbon emissions. He's doing this. He's blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And to think that people would say, well, I don't like him because he doesn't like certain groups of people, which is one of his sons did. I can't use those words because they get flagged. But he's revolutionizing the Earth. The Earth. I have no time for those people. And saved free speech on the internet. Exactly. Except on YouTube. It's not on YouTube. There's still no free speech there. No matter how much they say, even in my creator portal, Mike, it talks about how they've restored accounts and they're taking more of a look at it. And then they list other things. Then they literally go into say our terms and conditions, in which they talk about gambling, which predictive markets, and since I talked about Polymarket, probably won't get any juice from YouTube on that. Yep, we've got 0 people from the algorithm on YouTube. That's how that works. So it's definitely not free speech on YouTube. Nope. Nope. Mike, wrecked my body in Afghanistan, fixed it in Nevada with Bio. What the hell's the name of that company? Tesla's division Bio. Whatever it is. I am Mike. All right, everybody. That was the long tangent away from Bitcoin. Anyways, they had the hourly chart there talking about it. This screen over here normally is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, but he's not with us tonight. Although I do have a text message from Striking Jr., not from Pedro. All right, let me queue up some of the stories I was talking about earlier. Where is it? This one right here. You can see behind me it says Senator Booker. Low odds for crypto bill without Democrats appointed to key positions. Now, normally I don't come out and just be super partisan for one side or another. Obviously, Pedro and I normally talk about things from the Republican side here in the U.S. or conservative side in Canada because those are the groups that have been supporting the digital asset industry and have not been playing this game like Elizabeth Warren does, and to some extent the previous government, Justin Trudeau, did, saying that, oh, this is just all scams and North Korean funding terrorism and blah, 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 and trying to choke out companies on Operation Choke Point. So naturally, we supported one party over another, not because of immigration or budgets or whatever. We're like, this company supports our industry, which we know to be real, or this party does, and this party doesn't. And this guy here never did. But anyway, as you know, in Washington, good things been going on for crypto, digital assets, and all that type of stuff. Mr. Trump himself and his family have made plenty of money in crypto. I'm not exactly keen with the ethics in that, but he's got a big extended family. And what do you do? It's like he's the first president that's had plenty of adult children, in the modern industry or in the modern times, out there making money. So it's hard to say, well, your kids can't do anything if you're president. But it's besides the point. Republicans are pushing it, doing well. And then, just today, December 9th, Senator Booker, Cory Booker, says, low odds for crypto bill without Democrats appointed at the CFTC and SEC. Now, and they've put a hold on it. They said, came to a stop. We're not doing anything. And why is that? Why is that? Because obviously Washington is a place of politics. In any government capital, whether it's Ottawa, Ontario for the federal government in Canada, whether it's Ottawa for the city of Ottawa in Ontario, whether it's Washington, D.C., whether it's Springfield here in Illinois, or not in Illinois anymore, back in Illinois, there's obviously politics going on. Horse trading, you know what, if you guys give us this, you guys will do that, and that type of stuff. That's completely normal in politics. It's completely normal. However, what's not normal is when people get up and grandstand and just say, that's it, you guys are done, we're blocking your entire initiative. Normally, it's done behind the scenes. There's a little bit public facing, we want this, we want that, but normally behind the scenes, they figure everything out. But in the past couple of years, pretty much since, basically since Barack Obama was elected, but more so when Trump's first term came about, there's been a full stop on anything that the president has wanted to do by the other party. And the Democrats have taken it to a new level, saying, unless you appoint our guy, not even your guys that we kind of like, you have to appoint our guys to the CFTC and the SEC. Otherwise, your bill, forget it. And that's new. It's new and even lower and different because nobody does that. It's like saying to nominate a Supreme Court justice, and you would nominate someone to be opposite of your viewpoint. Like if you were trying to set all this type of policy and you needed future generations of lawsuits to be settled in favor or judged or ruled on in favor of your party's ideas, you would not appoint someone of the opposing view. And Mr. Booker here is saying, we want people of the opposing views to be part of the groups that regulate what you're trying to pass. We want the opposing viewpoint to be the people you pass or you appoint to the SEC and CFTC, along with, I'm not going to go through the whole article, but he talks about the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, basically any group, any federal agency that has its fingers into dealing with the public. He just came out and said, your crypto bill's not going anywhere. So we know it's not going anywhere. The Mr. Booker here, Harvard. Obviously, we know the problems with Harvard, and it's like 40% of the people that go to Harvard now identify as the alphabet soup thing. Kind of weird. Went to Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar too. Studied at Oxford. All kinds of good stuff there. Came back, got his law degree from Yale, I think it was. All the check boxes of like smart guy, doing all kinds of stuff. Gets elected to be the mayor of Newark. It was Newark, I believe. But anyway, when New Jersey Senator John Corbin resigned. Anyway, he was appointed to fill his spot. So he's been in the U.S. Senate now for a while. Oh, yeah, that's right. So he's pushing in bipartisan negotiations, which are not bipartisan, to make sure the regulators like the CFTC and the SEC remain balanced and fair. But they want their people in charge instead of who the sitting president of the United States is, who's the one who's allowed to appoint people. Anyway, so all of our good new market structure bill. The new markets, there's no main title for it yet, but the market structure bill is, in essence, the Stablecoin Act, the Genius Act, and a bunch of other things have been passed, but there's no wide-ranging legislation to really allow crypto and the financial world to integrate as one and settle all the little minutia of what's going on here. And we're waiting for that because we need that to happen to stop the conflicting rules and regulations that still exist in the U.S. government. And hopefully, by doing so, we'll also set not a precedent, but an example for Canada and even the EU, because the EU is still going like downhill in this stuff and putting more regulations and oppressing crypto. Not intentionally like it's so bad. It's just like, we have to protect the consumer so much. You can't believe it. Bobby, give me some more propane. And the Trump administration is in an urgent push to get this settled, to allow all the money to flow into the U.S. that's currently flowing into the UAE, flowing into Singapore, escaping the UK and Europe. To some extent, El Salvador, it's a small amount, but still, if we have this great playing field here, people will come. It's that simple. But nope, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats are blocking it. Just like the Democrats block crypto. Because that's what they're used to doing. That's what they like to do. That's what they like to do. Anyway, let's hit the social media content for a little bit here. Thanks to everyone that's watching. Really appreciate it. As always, everybody, you're watching DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. Usually we have a daily 2-hour talk show every day. During this holiday season, we're a little sparse right now as people go back and forth between families, have holiday obligations and that type of stuff. So we weren't on yesterday, and Tuesdays we're not on during the day anymore just due to scheduling conflicts for the time being. But thanks to everyone that's been watching us. I really appreciate it. Even have some viewers on Facebook. I'm going to drop a comment on the Facebook. Thanks. FB viewers. That one's around my mic. My wireless mics have been dead lately. First they were lost, and then they were dead. Thank you, Facebook viewers. We don't get a lot of Facebook viewers, but every once in a while a video over there goes nuts. Oh, it's like wondering who the viewer is over there, and it says Crypto Mike has shared your reel. Thank you, Crypto Mike. All right, let's get to some other news out there. We are going to talk more about Bitcoin a little bit, and I will probably also talk about XRP as well, since I like to poo-poo on them. Getting that message. I was like, ooh, I got a new viewer over there. Nope. Same viewer. Where is the... Thanks to the X viewers, really appreciate it. A couple of you over there. Let me take some time here to as I say, welcome everybody. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, repost, chat. Just do it. Just do it. It helps Pedro and I out so much when you do that. Anything, engagement, reposting, clicking like, all that type of stuff. Do we have to beg, plead, and grovel? Yes, we do have to do that. Crypto Mike says we have a snowstorm right now. X viewers, you know what to do. Our X viewership has slowly been creeping up. Slowly. We're going to get there one of these days. One of these days we'll get there with X. Anyway, back to the... Crypto shorts get racked as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP spike ahead of the Fed decision. Let's bring the great graphics machine up here. Let's let it do its thing and read us out. Nope, it's not doing that. There we go. Accessing the mainframe, the great DYOR mainframe. Bitcoin up 2.5% today. Ethereum, I got the glow too high in that, but up 5.7%. Let me move that over here so I can read it. XRP up 1%. Look at that. Ethereum's up 5% today. XRP is up 1%. How about that? BNB bucking the trend. Earlier it was at 910. Now it's at 889, minus 0.37%. Solana up 3.5%. Tron up 0.5%. Dogecoin up 4.2%. Cardano leading the pack, up 7.5% today. Cardano has been quite volatile lately. You know, let's take a look at Cardano's volume. 17 billion market cap. 1.3 billion in volume. That's a lot for Cardano. That's a lot. Let's see, in the past year they've been as high as $1.17 or so, and now they're trading at 46, but up 7.5% today is a lot. Uh-oh. That sneeze came up so fast I wasn't able to hit the mute button there. Anyway, as I was talking about the Fed decision tomorrow, going to play havoc on the markets. If it isn't 0.25%, it will play havoc on the markets. Why? Because that's what everyone is expecting. But what if they really tricked us? They came out and just said 0.15. They've been doing it in quarter point increments for as long as I can remember. But they don't need to. They just do. Of course, they don't also need to have a big press conference and make a big to-do about it. The Fed used to just change the rate. When banks went to go borrow money, they would just say that's the rate today. In fact, it would be published in the morning in the paper. The banks would look at it. Okay, well, that's what it is. And now they do big press conference. They have PR people, comms people. All the reporters go and cover it. Yeah. Not how it's supposed to work. All right, let's find our other good articles here. When we opened the show, I talked about this, and this is really interesting. Pedro and I have been talking about this for years. And finally, it's coming mainstream. One of the things that showed that privacy was really important was Monero starting to gather mainstream support, and Zcash coming out. I mean, Zcash famously was started by the guy from Starknet, which was an amazing disaster. Just a rug pull. No, I shouldn't say a rug pull. I should say a VC pump and dump of epic proportions. But he got something right with Zcash. And Zcash has been, well, let me, where did my thing go? Let's look at ZEC. Zcash's price, $440 now. I mean, it's spiked higher than that in certain time frames. We'll look at that in a minute. But with Zcash getting all of the news lately, Circle said, you know what? We've been listening to what everyone has to say. Chain analysis is a big industry, and looking at following wallets, following people, gathering up, hoovering their information up, tracking everything and where every bit of dollar goes, trying to link people's wallets to people is a big industry now, including for reputation status. I mean, people want to be able to say, companies are being told that, hey, you better not deal with that wallet. It's 2 transactions from it. It dealt with Tornado Cash, so it's probably North Korea. So that means that wallet's probably a North Korean wallet of some sort. And so they're starting to say, hey, we're not going to deal with you because your wallet is, it was hooked up with these bad guys. Now, if you go into a coffee shop and the guy in front of you is a mass murderer, but he's just buying coffee and he gives some cash, and then you go up and order coffee and you give a bigger bill and you get his cash as change, you're like, okay, thanks, and you leave. Is that money tainted? Can that money in your reputation, is it tainted? No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. I mean, like, famously for ages, during the cocaine days of the 80s and 90s, almost every $100 US bill they could trace and find remnants of cocaine on it. or whatever the myth was, but it was a huge amount. So is all that money no good? No, it just still legal tender. And all the companies pitching reputations and wallet and all this kind of tracking and all the different services that go around with all the data that you can pull off the blockchain. We're trying to push the narrative like, well, if that wallet's had, if you look back 2 transactions, there was a Tornado Cash or they transferred money to Monero, so something must be bad. And there's people like Pedro and I going, no, that's not how this works. It's not how this works. I mean, the old adage 6 degrees of separation. Everyone is 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon somehow, right? And people are only like 4 degrees of separation from most of the people on the planet. So even 2 degrees of separation can be, massive amounts of wallets, and then for them to say, "Oh no, sorry," and they're trying to push the concept that a person should have a wallet, and even FinCEN in the U.S., the Financial Crime Center, was trying to push rules and regulations saying that you couldn't just open new wallets, and that any wallet that has no transactions in it is deemed to be bad until it has a history that can be verified. And that's like saying getting your wallet out and saying, no, we need to look in your wallet and where all those dollars went before we're allowing you to buy something. And that's not right. And Circle has come out and saying, we're coming out with a privacy-focused stablecoin. Circle's X Reserve platform is launching on the testnet of Layer 1 blockchain Alio. Alio or Alio? I don't know the right way to say that. Which is a good thing. It's a good thing, Martha. USDC issuer Circle is partnering with Alio to launch USDCX, privacy-focused interoperable stablecoin. Means it'll be on all the blockchains. It'll allow users to protect sensitive data like transaction history while remaining compliant with regulations. The launch is the second, powered by Circle's new X Reserve platform, which allows blockchains to launch USDC-backed solutions or stablecoins. See, now Pedro has been talking about this. He's been talking about how Walmart or Amazon can launch their own stablecoins. And the new stablecoin law, I got it now. The new stablecoin law came out and said the stablecoin issuers like USDC, USDT are not allowed to issue stablecoins and pay interest and staking fees for people that stake their stablecoins with them. But third parties can, like you and I can, like Tom LLC could say, give me your USDC and I will give you 5% back a year for staking, or 10% or 20% or 100%. But now these guys are genius. This is how they circumvent the law. Circle's X Reserve platform, which I'm sure they own control of, but don't directly run, means you can put your money up with them. Say, I'm going to start a stable coin. I'm going to fund it with $100 million in liquidity, and push that $100 million in liquidity out to various exchanges to allow people to exchange their tokens for our token, and then stake it with us. So you could stake. Walmart could say, we're going to create our own. Amazon create our own, and essentially creating a frequent user program. Use our stable coin and get 2% off or whatever. I get it how that's going to work. We have a robust pipeline of organic inbound interest from both existing stablecoin users and those interested in using stables when waiting for confidential payment. You know what? We need to do your own research stablecoin. I'm going to see how much it is to start one. And then we'll have like a GoFundMe. Think we can raise like $500 million? You think? Should be easy, right? No problem. All right, 1 second here while I find out what's going on here. trying to... for some reason, we're not getting good statistics here today. Checking social media stuff here. Make sure this is working. Okay, YouTube is working. Guy named Tom says, hey, hey. All right. Once again, when Pedro doesn't join me and I have to do all the talking, my voice starts getting a little scratchy. All right, one of the things I spoke about earlier was for you Americans watching, you understand what RICO means generally. A few foreigners, including my fellow Canadians, the RICO Act in the United States was designed to fight the mafia in the 1930s and 40s and other times. So it stands for, it's RICO, stands for Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organizations. Basically, organizations running a racket, which the mafia's business used to be called for gambling and prostitution and loan sharking and all that type of stuff. And so that law was always kind of applied to huge organizations, Al Capone organizations, the Gambino family, all that type of stuff. But then the federal government said, we can charge anyone that runs an organization, like say a bunch of dudes hacking people's crypto wallets, and charge them with a RICO Act. And because they designed this to stop the mafia, there were terrible, terrible, terrible consequences with getting charged with this stuff and convicted. Like if say you stole $35,000 from someone, they're like, all right, 5 years in jail and pay the bill back. If it was a RICO charge, it could be life. Or 15 years of hard labor in the past. And the hard labor in the past was they sent you out to break rocks for 15 years. They don't do that anymore. Or you go to prison with as the head of the RICO group you're guilty with special circumstances or special something like that, in which you're because you're the head of it, you get even more time, and or a harder sentence, like you don't get to go to the white collar club fed, as they call it. You have to go to prison block D, where the murderers and stuff are. So it's not a good thing at all. And now they're bringing those RICO charges against crypto scammers. Think about that. Think about like a random crypto scammer who rug pulled your project. If he conspired with other people guilty of theft, conspiracy to commit a crime, to defraud people, but if he's done it in a large group that's organized to do that, they could be charged with a RICO scheme. And here, this group here, the 9th defendant in this group pleads guilty to a $263 million social engineering scheme, trying to steal or helping launder at least $3.5 million, blah, 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 and turning yada, 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 blah, blah. But 22-year-old guy became the 9th defendant to plead guilty in a RICO-designated crypto theft ring tied to more than $263 million in stolen Bitcoin. Evan Tangman helped launder millions, securing luxury rentals under false identities, doing all sorts of things to break the law. How many years in the joint did he get? And he pled guilty. Leaning on RICO charges, statute once aimed for the mafia and drug cartels. Oh, this is just a... Maybe they haven't gone into sentencing phase yet. Last September, authorities arrested ringleader Lam and co-defendant Jindil Serrano on fraud and money laundering charges, assisted by crypto sleuth Zach XBT. Not going to be surprised if Zach XBT turns out to be an arm of the federal government. They traced the stolen funds through mixers and peel chains. So in essence, they put things through Tornado Cash and similar things, and they still figured out where it went. If the government wants to find you, they're going to, because they're going to track all the when money goes into Tornado Cash, it doesn't just come out anonymous. I mean, it comes out and goes somewhere. So you can track all the outflows from Tornado Cash, and somebody with enough resources like the U.S. federal government can figure out, everything that comes out of Tornado Cash every day and say, where did it go? It went to Binance. It went to here. It went to there. It went to this place. Went to that place. And so they can track all of them, and they can quickly eliminate 95% of them and say, no, those look normal. And then 5% of them are like, wait a minute. Because it's not like if you have $1 million to launder, you don't just send $1 million to Tornado Cash and then it sends $1 million to another wallet and breaking the chain. That's obvious. I mean, $1 million goes in, $1 million comes out. It's clearly the same transaction. What you need to do is set it so that it puts in $1 million in the Tornado Cash and sends out like $10 here, $50 there, and spread it over 1,000 wallets over like 10 years. And criminals, they don't have that time, because the people that are sponsoring them or helping them do it want their money right now. And so they screw it up. Anyway, the good story is that what we've always wanted was we wanted crypto to be legal. And in this show, I've covered the concept of criminals here in this article, talking about the criminals getting what they deserve. And I've also talked about how the Trump administration is trying to put together the whole story, the whole legislative acts to make crypto completely blend with the financial system in all aspects without any barriers. So they follow the same rules as every other financial product. And we need that, because if you do this kind of scam and butt fuckery in the commodities trading world or stock market world, bad things happen to you. And so we needed that same thing in crypto. And so that's going on. Crypto Mike, sorry, just getting to your comments here. Really, for cannons and Lucky Luciano. Yeah. Capone. When I used to work in New York, as they say back in the day, a mafia guy got hit, who was the head of the Gambino family. It wasn't a Gambino, it was I can't remember his name. Anyway, it was one of those things where he comes out of a restaurant getting into his Lincoln, guy pop, 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 pop. He's laying dead, and it's on the front of the New York Post with his legs, he's dead. That type of stuff. And I remember being out in New York after work with people, and I was young at the time. I was probably 19 or something like that. And I remember thinking the neighborhood, it was in, I believe in Brooklyn. And I was like, why do I know this neighborhood? And then and this is, obviously before phones and the internet. And I was like, why is it? I'm like, something weird happened here. I know this for some reason. Went back, talked to my grandfather, who I was living with at the time. He's like, oh, that's where, what's his name, was assassinated of the mafia. I was like, oh. Oops. Thank you to I don't even know how to pronounce it. Whatever, for offering cheap fake viewers. Paul Castellano, thanks for Googling that, Mike. I forget what year he was off to. It was like 84, 85 or something like that. I'm sure in the article you're looking at it, it'll tell us. But I was there probably in like 88, 89 or so. And I was like, something's up with this neighborhood. And I don't know why. I was like, oh, big mafia hit. Paul Castellano. Poor guy. Muerto. 85. Yep. That's a long time ago. A long time ago. December, look at that. December 16th. It was 40 years ago. Oh. All right, well, that's all the news articles I had today. And so the plan was obviously to talk about a bunch of stuff with Pedro, but I'm going to spin back to Bitcoin for a minute here before I go here for the evening. I've been a busy couple of days here. I started out the week in doing shows from the Chicago office of DYOR Media, otherwise known as my apartment. Mrs. Striking wasn't with me this time. She stayed in Kanukistan, so I had plenty of time to broadcast. So Pedro and I did a couple of shows. Finished off November with a bang. It was our best month on Rumble ever. Did very well. We're very pleased. Thanks to everybody out there that watched, shared, helped us out, all that type of stuff. It makes a tremendous difference. So I was supposed to drive back from Toronto, or from Chicago to Toronto, meet Mrs. Striking. That's not it. That's the right one. Meet Mrs. Striking, then drive back to Ottawa. And on Saturday, I look at the phone here and it says, or I'm sorry, Odessa, I won't say her real name, goes, boom, you have notifications. I was like, Odessa, play my notifications, and she says, many inches of snow predicted starting in 3 hours. I was like, oh no. And from Chicago to get to Toronto, you have to drive around Lake Michigan, and then across Michigan, and then into Windsor, and then across. You're spending much of your time along lakefronts. And lakefronts and winds mean more snow. And so where the highway is, there's more snow. And I was like, I'm past the age of wanting to, having a fun time driving in the snow. And so I said, that's it. About 9 o'clock at night on Saturday night. I wasn't doing anything because I was planning on leaving early the next morning. I was packing and all that. I said, hello, Mrs. Striking. I'm going to leave tonight. So, my infinite wisdom, I drove all night, Saturday night. Got to Toronto in the morning. Stayed ahead of the snow. It was like the flakes were just falling on me the entire way. And behind me, there was just a carnage of snow, and especially lake effect snow where the highway is, just off Lake Michigan. And so I made it. And I'm telling you this story because that means I missed a night of sleeping, and I am essentially jet lagged, and I'm tired. So anyway, that means I won't be. Usually we do a 2-hour show here on these things, and I'm only doing a little bit over an hour because I am beat. And today, Mrs. Striking and I drove all the way back to Ottawa and stuff. So we're back here in Kanukistan, just in time for the holiday season. I'll be spending the holidays here in Kanukistan this time. Anyway, once again, just the quick review here of Bitcoin. Like I said, we have one more. Since we've been on the air here, we've got another hourly candle here. And what we're expecting here tonight, that was just Pedro that called me. Isn't that interesting? I can't unlock my phone for some reason. Hold on, Pedro. Just finishing show. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, hold on a second. Pedro's calling me back. Oh, okay, everybody. That, as I expected, Pedro had things going on here tonight, as we all do during this time of the season. A lot of things going on, but that's all right. Anyway, let me finish up the evening talking about if you're trading at all tonight. Remember, tomorrow is the FOMC meeting. It is a big deal. The FOMC meetings are very much buy the rumors, sell the news. So look for, if nothing changes, when the information drops tomorrow about the rate change, right before it, you're going to see a big pump and to get people to FOMO into it and be like, yes, good news. And then right after, it'll just going to dump on you. And we'll review that. But in the 1 hour chart here, the flag that's going on, this is like, as Sam Price would say, a 68% chance of breaking up here and doing the measured move up like that. So count on that happening. Like I said, Pedro and I have been looking for it to go up to 100,000 with an intermediary stop at 95. And that's kind of where this one goes here. This measured move goes to 95. That might be the move we need to do that before we follow the trend back down. So as I was talking here, why didn't that do that? We're going up here, and we might see 95 or even 100,000 before we follow this arrow back down. And that's our estimate of the rest of the week here for Bitcoin. And if you're just talking about XRP, it's just the XRP chart will probably just do that. Tell Pedro to make an encore presentation. I would have just brought Pedro on right now and gone for another hour, but I am beat, and need to wrap this up and all that. But thanks to everyone that watched tonight. I really appreciate it. The important part tonight was kind of understanding where Bitcoin is going to go, and reiterating the fact that it's got a little up in it to those the levels that Pedro's been talking about at 95 and 100,000 before it comes back down, and it could come violently down a lot. All the people that really understand how the market makers and industry works know that they want to buy it as low as possible, because it's so much easier to double your money going from 60,000 to 120,000 rather than 125,000 and 250,000. And there's still people calling for 250. I saw one tweet, guys, it's going to be 400,000 before the end of the year. And that's just not feasible. The amount of money that has to come in when traditionally liquidity starts getting low at the end of the year, it's just not going to happen. Just now, it's crypto, I get it. Anything could happen, right? Anything could happen. But that's all we got for you tonight. Let's load the X-Fill music here. Mike, I'm sure at some point in your life you were X-filled. from the bar while you were on break in the UAE. Group of Canadians needs X-Fill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to everyone that that tuned in tonight for this short episode. I see a bunch of you watching on X. Thanks to everyone that joined us on X. I really appreciate it. I think I can hit that button here and see how many people. There are currently 5 of you watching. I know things are broken here tonight on the viewership numbers because I know more than 2 people are watching on YouTube and Facebook. Because one of the people watching on Facebook is me. It's monitoring it. It's not putting rated. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for this nice Tuesday evening show. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be here the usual time in the middle of the day at 12. We're going to be following the Crypto Lifer show. He's on 10 to 12. Pedro and I are on 12 to 2 following his show. So if you're watching Crypto Lifer, tell all your friends and the 1,500 people that he gets to watch every day. Peel a couple of them off to come talk to us on our show. I really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks everybody. Let's see if I have the sound set up correctly here. Don't know if I do. We'll find out here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to have hosted another episode of this great show called DYOR Live. We'll see you tomorrow here at noon on Wednesday. We're going to see what the FOMC has to say. Will it be good news, bad news? Will it be both? Will it be a pump or dump? I don't know, but we'll see you tomorrow, so be there. No, Mike, didn't do a raid tonight. It's all right. We'll do it again another night.